Hi, I'm Caleb Martell, and in this video series I'm going to be taking you through the basics of two-handed whip cracking. So for this first video, I'm just going to go over a couple of common questions for people who are starting out. And probably the first one is, what type of whips do I need to do this? And basically just a set of bull whips or stock whips or performance hybrid whips that are both the same length, and of course it's best if they're made as a pair. If you get them from a whip maker, I sell matched pairs. You can check out my Etsy shop for some stock whips. Just order any bull whip or stock whip and just order two and ask me to make them a matched set so you can crack them at the same time, and I'll make them like that. But anyways, bull whips are good to do it, but stock whips and especially performance hybrid whips are the best for learning, and so I'd recommend that you get one of those. Now as far as length, for stock whips you want the thong to be between about 4 and 7 feet. Okay, so when you measure stock whip, it doesn't include the handle, it's just the flexible part of the whip here, and only the braided portion here where you have the fall attached and the cracker. That's not included in the length. Now for a bull whip, it's the same is true, except the handle is also included in the length. So for a bull whip, about 4 to 6 or 7 feet also, and the same with performance hybrid whips. And now as far as handle length, especially for bull whips, the longer the better. Stock whip handles and performance hybrid whip handles are generally going to be long anyway, so you really don't have to worry about getting the handle long enough. If you just buy a stock whip or performance hybrid whip, the handles are going to be long enough to give you the leverage you need to make fancy cracking and two-handed cracking easier. Now as far as a bull whip, the handles are generally shorter. They can be 12, 14, sometimes even 16 inches or more. Usually they're between 8 and 12 inches, most common. And so if you get bull whips, try to get the handle as long as you can. And of course, the whip, if you can get a lighter bull whip, that works too. That's why, again, stock whips and performance hybrid whips are better, because they're very thin and lightweight. So that's the type of whips you'll need. And of course, make sure that you're wearing either eye protection or a hat with a brim to protect. If you're just starting out, definitely wear eye protection, but as you get more comfortable, you should at least have a hat on. So anyway, as far as what you need to know to start, you should of course be able to do the basic cracks in one hand. I have a video series on this channel. You can check all those videos out. I tried to put them in the order that they should be learned in. Anyway, just basically learn those in your dominant hand, and then you can just go through it again in your left hand. So if you learn the cattleman's crack, it's the basic crack, just learn that in your left hand. Just go through the same steps you did as for the right hand, and do that with your basic cracks. Now you don't necessarily have to learn all of them before you start. If you just want to start two-handed whip cracking, you can start with just the cattleman's crack, and that'll get you at least started for getting used to the timing. We'll talk about that in the next video. But so yeah, just go through it again, and you can go through learning as much two-handed whip cracking as you can. And if you just come to a lesson that has a crack that you can't do in your non-dominant hand, then just learn that in your other hand and then come back to it. Alright, another common question is, do I have to be able to multitask to be able to do two-handed whip cracking? And the answer is no. You don't have to be a natural at multitasking. You don't have to be able to play the piano, because that's one thing where each hand is doing something different. And you know, some people think they just have to have that natural ability, but the truth is you don't. Just as long as you take your time, just go through step by step, you can learn to multitask with, you know, 2 whips and, you know, anything else really. But in this case, we're doing 2-handed whip cracking. So anyways, I think that's about it. Tried to cover the basics of what you need to know to get started. So now we can actually start cracking.